equals madness. Gioza.
He drops the end.
Oh, he threw it to the wrong man. He threw it to Worthy.
Did we just see what we think we just saw? This is March Madness.
And here we go. Welcome to the Madness of March and the D1 and Done pod, currently presented by no one, but as always, a rep for sponsorship. Make sure you follow us on our social media pages, either on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can interact with the show by leaving us a message or a comment on any of those platforms. You can also email us. It's d1anddonepod@gmail.com. Leave a like. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hey, leave a review. We are a 5-star podcast. We are getting the bag in NIL when it comes to us on the NIL front as a 5-star recruit. So make sure you check in with us there. I am Robbie Donahoe, and currently we have all of this coming in remotely. We got Nick Mills calling in along with Dusty Mills, currently in New York City, so we're kind of all spread out around the United States right now. We just got the bracket set. All 68 teams are set and ready to roll. Nick, I want to start with you. First reactions. I'm fired up. I know you are.
First off, I just want to apologize to all the listeners. I had a lot of fun in Nashville this week, so my voice may not be up to standards, so I apologize in advance. But yeah, I guess my initial, first of all, it's here, boys.
It's here, baby.
Finally here. We're here. The bracket's out. But I guess, was your question like my initial thoughts of the bracket? Is that what you asked me? Sorry, I forgot.
I guess, yeah, just your excitement. Just initial, just quick fire reaction to what you just saw.
How was initial fire reaction? How was our two teams, Kentucky and Purdue? I like both of our draws we got,
do too.
Robbie.
Yeah.
We don't have to play each other till Phoenix. Yeah, I think the main story of this, this bracket is, the Big East and the Mountain West got the middle finger from the committee. I mean, 3 teams from the Big East made it. That's crazy to me.
It's nuts. We will go through the last 4 in, first 4 out, and next 4 out. And as Nick mentioned, it was a bit surprising how the Big East kind of got the shaft with a couple of their teams. Dusty, I know you are kind of seeing this bracket as we are talking about it and going through it, which is perfect. We could not get a more organic and legitimate reaction in the moment where we are right now. So what are your thoughts just seeing right off the bat what it looks like?
So I've been in New York City since Friday, not covering the Big East tournament. Just here
On assignment.
Yeah. Just here for a friend's wedding. Unfortunately, my wife and I, as we've been cruising Manhattan today, we're going to sit down and watch the show right at 6 o'clock. And these non-college basketball friendly New York City bars had New York Jersey Devils hockey on every TV.
Oh, great.
So everyone wants to hop on.
Everyone wants to watch the Devils on a Sunday during the bracket show, of course.
So we
That's like sacrilegious. Devils on a Sunday? Like, what the heck?
That's a great
I like
point.
that. The only thing I currently know is the 4 number 1 seeds. I know that Kentucky's a 3 seed with Marquette as their 2. I know that Florida is in Indianapolis this weekend as a 7 seed.
That's right.
I know that Rick Pitino is not in. I know that Indiana State is not in, which has everyone's been hearing they're the lowest net ranking, which has been around for 5 years now.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, 2019 will be the first year.
Yeah, and the story of that is, as Robbie, I'm sure you'll dive into it in the show, the bubble changed so much in 1 week. That was the most chaotic conference tournament week I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. By the way,
what was that stat you had? 21 non-1 seeds won the conference tournament?
That's right, 21 non-1 seeds.
And I shared to you guys today when I noticed that all 5 championships today did not even have a 1 seed playing.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Because
even like the SEC, the top 3 seeds didn't make it out of the quarterfinals.
That's
There's just
wild,
a bunch of
man.
Stuff like
Can I touch on one thing for our conference tournaments?
Yeah.
The heartbreak of my beloved Brown Bears today.
Oh,
And I finally saw the replay of the shot. That is actually a pretty hard shot.
that's not an easy shot on the baseline. It really isn't.
No, to catch it with 1 second left, and he basically just flared up one-handed from 5 feet out. Heartbreak City, but congratulations to our new Ivy League champs.
Very much so. Yeah, almost, very nearly got an under 500 team into the big dance, and Brown was just almost there. And man, that would have been really cool if it happened. Before we dive into more on the bracket, we do want to let you know that we are going to do a tournament challenge, bracket challenge, a tourney bracket challenge on ESPN. If you search D1 and Done Pod, you can find our group there and get in on the tournament challenge. The winner gets a $50 restaurant gift card, so there is a lot on the line. Second place gets $20, and third place will get a shout-out on the show. So we will post all of that on our social media pages where you can get locked in and be involved in our tournament bracket challenge. Also want to mention to you, upcoming shows. Coming up Monday, that's tomorrow, March 18th, that'll be our big bracket show. We're planning on getting that all together right now. So that'll basically be your one-stop shop for us predicting our bracket and how we like the seeds and the teams and our Final Four going forward. Tuesday is the first ladies of the pod. If you've ever been in a bracket challenge, you know it's the person that knows the least about college basketball that always seems to win. So once again, we're going to have our wonderful first ladies of the pod. That is my wife, Kelly, and Dusty's wife, Haley, joining us coming up on Tuesday, March 19th. March 20th, Wednesday, the day before the tournament officially it tips off, even though we got the first four on Tuesday. That'll be Know Your Underdogs, where you're going to dive into all of the double-digit seeded teams and let you know, hey, is there a team to watch out for? Maybe a team you could pick on that maybe make a run in the tournament. And then After Dark pods every night while we have the tournament. So we've got so much to get to, and we've got so much content coming forward with everyone, with all three of us here on the D1 and Done Pod. Real quick, if this is your first time listening to the D1 and Done Pod, welcome. We are so glad you are here. We got our name courtesy of our good pal Dusty Mills, who played college basketball at Kentucky and Ball State. Dusty, how many NCAA tournaments did you play in?
Ooh, 0.
Oh, 0. Woo! So, basically,
actually, the Kentucky team that I was a part of after I had left the team in February, they ended Kentucky. I think their 22-year win streak of winning the first round were defeated by Marquette.
Oh, so you were the reason why they lost?
I would say they lost their chemistry after I left.
That's what happens when you get rid of the walk-ons. You lose the chemistry, you lose the team.
Yeah.
Typical.
And the GPA.
and the GPA, too. So Dusty played Division I college basketball. Nick and I flamed out very quickly in high school. But Nick, from what I understand, made some great buzzer beaters when he was in high school and middle school. My lone buzzer beater came in Super Hoops in 6th grade. And after that, it was just all downhill from there. But regardless, we all have big, rooted, deep backgrounds in basketball, and we absolutely love college hoops. So, fellas, before we jump into talking about who got left out, who's in, who's out, I want to give some shout-outs to teams who are in the big dance for the first time in a very long time, and there's a couple of them. First off, how about the Duquesne Dukes of the Atlantic 10? First time in the dance since 1977. It has been a long time for those fans, so congratulations to the Dukes. We have 2 first-timers at the D1 level. The Stetson Hatters are in for the first time. So is Grambling State from the SWAC. How about the Tigers making a run?
Grambling stunned me to hear that stat.
Very shocking. Last time they were in the tournament was in 76 when they were in the D2 tournament.
Correct.
And Stetson's best player, I believe his name is Julian Blackman, is from Indiana.
Jalen Blackman from Stetson, absolutely, from Marion, Indiana. So got that Indiana pipeline going down to Stetson. How about Wagner going through the Northeast Conference? They're in the big dance for the first time since 2003.
7 scholarship players.
Yes.
Shout out to them.
Samford is in for the first time since the year 2000. McNeese is in for the first time since 2002. How about Oakland? Greg Campy, our guy, he's in for the first time since 2011. Long Beach State, doesn't matter who you're firing. You're going to make it to the big dance for the first time since 2012. If you don't know that story, they fired their head coach before the conference tournament, and now they're in the big dance. I think they have to keep them. Don't they have to keep him now? Isn't that required?
He spoke after the game yesterday live and said that he's ready for the next adventure.
My God,
I think you just keep doing. I think you just keep rehiring him and firing him to get that spark. I think they found the cheat code.
That's amazing. So by the way, speaking of coaching, we're going to get into some other interesting coaching news later on in the show in regards to Ohio State, in case you haven't heard. Western Kentucky, first time in the big dance since 2013. Old Steve Lutz comes in and takes the Hilltoppers back to the dance. You'll get to see Brandon Newman, former Boilermaker, that'll be playing in Indianapolis in that 2:15 game when they take on Marquette. And then James Madison, first time they're in the dance since 2013. And the Lobos of New Mexico are back for the first time since 2014. So we have 11 teams in the tournament for the first time in at least 10 years. So there are a lot of new teams that we are excited to be watching. Nick, of that bunch, who do you like the most to maybe at least win one game or maybe make a little bit of a run here?
Oh, crap. Look at the bracket right now. I kind of like Duquesne. You know, they're
Really?
getting hot at the right time. Yeah, who are they playing?
They play BYU.
Yeah, I kind of like that matchup for them.
Good guard play.
Sorry,
I mean, they beat
good guard
VCU in
play.
the A-10 tournament championship. Yeah.
No, it wins in March, Robbie. You guys will hear this a bunch of times. Good guard play.
Oh, good guard play wins in March. That's why Purdue always loses,
Mhm.
because they have Zach Edey.
That's a good point.
So
Who do you like, Robbie?
I mean, I love what Will Wade has done in Big Nice. That 5-12 matchup with Gonzaga is probably my favorite first-round matchup. It is going to be so much fun. And Gonzaga is a team that, rose towards the end of the season. And congratulations, Gonzaga. Now you got to play a 30-win team in the first round. That's not going to be fun for anyone, except for the people that get to watch it. So I am.
Yeah, they're expected to be a 7, 8, 9 seed. They get overseeded, and the reward is McNeese State.
Yeah, congratulations.
It's a tough seed.
And I'll also say Samford is going to be a nightmare matchup for Kansas. Even if Kansas gets completely healthy, there's a lot of good first-round matchups. We'll run through more of those here in a second. I also want to go through who got left out and who made it in. So we're going to mention the last four in, first four out, and then a few more teams that didn't make it in. So the last four in, according to the committee, were Boise State, Colorado, Virginia, and Colorado State. Those were the last four teams in. The first four out were in this order: Oklahoma, Seton Hall, Indiana State, and Pitt. That means St. John's and Providence were not even on the first four out. So the Big East got, as Nick mentioned at the top of the show, the Big East really got the shaft here, and just very shocking. So I want to go to the guy who still doesn't know the bracket completely. Dusty, are you surprised by them leaving out St. John's, Providence, Seton Hall from the Big East?
Seton Hall shocked me.
Yeah.
More than anyone. St. John's, I think, kind of blew it at that final tournament game. I apologize, guys. Technical difficulties again. My biggest gripe going on with this is we'll get to the Big East, but get Virginia out of my face.
Yeah.
What is this?
Why is Virginia in?
You mentioned earlier, Robbie, we're a great camping pod. We are not a Virginia pod.
We absolutely we're not a Virginia pod. We're not a Wisconsin pod. You won't see us like any of those teams. I mean, I know why Virginia got in. They got 20 wins and they had good numbers, but just like at some point you have to take
the eye test. Give me that.
Exactly. You have to take the eye test into at least some consideration. If you watched Virginia over the last 3 weeks, there is no part of anyone's mind that thinks, yes, that's a tournament team. Like, they do not look like it at all. So my biggest gripe is obviously Virginia being in, and obviously, we're based in Indiana. We're going to say Indiana State absolutely deserved to be in. 100%.
Yes, they do.
100% the Sycamores deserve to be in.
All these big scores like Duquesne, UAB, NC State, like, it just ruined their chances from the start.
That's right.
Even Texas Tech, even Texas A&M, Mississippi State solidifying nowhere near the bubble. Doesn't help.
So throw Oregon in there as well. If Colorado gets the Aldo bid from the Pac-12, there's another spot that opens up. Yeah, I mean, Indiana State was literally 3 spots away from making it in, according to the committee. So they were right there.
We were talking about how exciting and fun this week of conference tournaments were. If you were in Terre Haute, Indiana, you were sweating every day. That must have been horrible.
It was really, really rough to see that. And I hated for Indiana State because this has arguably been their best team since Larry Bird was there. And unfortunately, we won't get to see Robbie Avila and the Sycamores in the big dance. But they got a great team, and they'll get an opportunity to play on the NIT, and I'm sure they'll take advantage of it. So we look forward to watching them there.
Real quick on Seton Hall again. This from John Fanta, shout out. This is for the first time in the 45-year history of the Big East Conference. A team went over 5 games, over 500 conference play, and did not make the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
And that team was Seton Hall.
Wow.
13-7 the Big East.
So just to compare here, so the Big East, as you mentioned, got 3 teams in. The Pac-12 got more teams in than the Big East.
Oh
The
my gosh.
Pac-12. Even
That's
the
crazy.
ACC, the Mountain West got double Big East. They got 6. The Mountain West got 6 teams in over the Big East 3. Now we are a Mountain West pod, so we love the Mountain West. We don't mind that, but still, the fact that it's still shocking to see the Big East has 3, and also, I mean, there was a time where the American was only going to get 1. Now they get 2.
Right.
And same with the A10. I mean, there were a lot of bid stealers out there.
And in the Mountain West, yeah, they got 6 teams in, but like the Big East, they kind of got disrespected too.
They
A lot
did.
of bad seats for them.
Yeah. I mean, like Nevada getting a 10, I thought that was a little low for them. Colorado State should have been comfortably in my opinion. But
Yeah, they're the last team in.
yeah, Colorado State, the last team in. And I know they didn't end the season very well. They still have strong numbers, though. So I was a little surprised by that. New Mexico, I thought, should have been higher than an 11, but I understand.
Utah State won the conference.
Utah
the regular
State.
season. They got, what, 8 or 9?
They got the 8. San Diego State was the highest seed at the 5, and they get to play UAB. I actually kind of like San Diego State's draw. I think they'll play pretty well against UAB, and then they'll take on either Auburn or Yale. So, Dusty, any other thoughts? Anything that jumps out from what you see then from the bracket initially, or anything else that jumps off the page at you?
Well, considering I still haven't looked at one, I can't say much. Who's Purdue playing?
So Purdue plays the winner of Montana State Grambling in the first round. And
Wow.
then so there's going to be a lot of people that I guarantee I'm going to have at least 30 people in my mentions being like, hey, you're picking Montana State to win because they're going to beat. It's obviously going to happen. But the 8-9 game was pretty tricky for Purdue, Utah State or TCU. TCU's got really athletic guards, and I think they would match up well against Purdue. That would be interesting. And Utah State has great Osabor, and that's a really good player. So I think that's a pretty good 8-9 matchup. But overall, I mean, what else? So Kentucky plays Oakland first round. They'll play the winner of Texas Tech, NC State if they advance.
Never mind. We're not a great campy pot this week.
I was about to say, I was like, we are a great campy pod, but by the way, I don't know if you guys remember, but last week, remember Dusty was talking about Houston, Kentucky, and if there was a chance that Kentucky and Houston could play in the Elite 8, are you just going to write the check? Well, hey, Kentucky and Houston are in the same bracket, my friend.
But your money where your mouth is, Crab.
Checkbook will be opened. Speaking of Kentucky, obviously like their draw. I'm also
it's a good draw.
nervous to get through the first round. But then let's say it is Texas Tech. My prediction will be, we'll talk more predictions tomorrow night, and I'll give more analysis once I understand, what's actually going on right now. I think that's when we see the Big 12 truly fall on their face, like we've been saying all year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's an indictment also that Oklahoma didn't get into the tournament. That was a team that a lot of people had comfortably in. I found a crazy stat on Oklahoma. So they were 2-11. Oklahoma was 2-11 in quad 1 and 2 games this year. 2-11.
Wow.
Their lone 2 wins were at home. They were 0-11 on the road and neutral site against quad 1 and 2 opponents.
Well, their answer for any suitors they have a great.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're kind of like Virginia. Like, they had not played well for months.
No.
Like, they've been going the wrong direction for a while.
Yeah, it didn't help that they lost their first game in the Big 12 tournament as well. I think that actually kind of possibly sealed the fate
Question
too.
for our viewers who probably haven't seen a bracket either. So where do the Owls end up at?
So yeah.
They're another seed that probably got a team that got better team people thought. They're the 8th seed. They're UConn's 8th seed right now. Which, by the way, that region, the 3 teams that made the Final Four last year are all in the same, we can call it like 8-team bracket. FAU, San Jose, and UConn.
Did they leave Miami out for some reason?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, Miami didn't make it in this year, unfortunately. Tough break for Jim
Neither did
Larinda.
Missouri.
So, okay, Dusty, I want to cut you loose so you can get back to enjoying your time in New York City, but we appreciate you being on the pod and calling in. We'll see you tomorrow night, and enjoy the bracket, and we look forward to talking to you then.
Boys, I've enjoyed this time. Thanks for letting me be a part of it. Fans, be excited. This is such a fun week, and do not dismiss the playing games.
No.
Too many people do that. Those 2 nights are such great nights to get you wound up for, a huge weekend.
Counterpoint, Virginia's playing in the first 4.
There's one game you can miss.
Okay, you can tally that one off. All right, thanks, Dusty. We'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers, gentlemen.
All right, Dusty Mills calling in from beautiful New York City. We appreciate him being in and making time for us. We also want to shout out his wonderful wife, Haley, for allowing Dusty to hop on with us here for a little bit. So, Nick, you almost got me to my next point that I wanted to run through. And it's on our rundown here. The strongest region, I think it's easily the East region with those teams that you mentioned towards the top.
Oh, I agree. Like I said, the Final Four pedigree, and Auburn was the 4th seed. I was surprised Kentucky got a better seed than Auburn.
I was too,
that surprised me. I mean, look at his region. UConn won the Big East. Iowa State won the Big 12 East Conference tournaments. Illinois won the Big 10. Auburn won the SEC. Like, a lot of teams playing hot right now. Obviously, Drake won their conference tournament. So I agree. This is the region to watch out for. This is my favorite region for sure.
Yeah,
Duquesne's in there as well.
That too. Yes, I mean it's all conference tournament champions across the board. Drake is the 10. There's another one too. So I mean, UConn being the number 1 overall seed, they did not get any breaks at all. Mm-hmm. I mean that FAU, which I think most between you and me. Obviously, we're an FAU pod, too. I think the Owls will beat Northwestern. They're going to make life very difficult on UConn with their guards. And Golden can match up inside with Donovan Clingan. I mean, that's a pretty spicy second-round game if it gets there.
It's weird. Like, FAU and UConn kind of built the same way. Again, they just have a tall white guy in the middle and a bunch of great guard plays with it. It's kind of and I guess Boot Billy kind of fits that mold, too, for Northwestern.
Anything else jumps out from, I guess, I think the East is the strongest region. Do we think the Midwest is the weakest region with kind of how things have played out? I mean, Tennessee is the 2. They really stumbled down the stretch. Kansas is in there as well. I know Creighton's a pretty strong 3, but I mean, if you look through the other regions, I mean, there's a lot of strong teams across the board in the South and the West. So I feel like the Midwest may be the weakest, which is funny because, I mean, also Purdue's the 1 seed in there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, looking at again, the South almost jumped out because Marquette just limping in with Tyler Cole.
Right.
So again, I think overall it's still a good region. I think it's the Midwest because again, Tennessee. By the way, we had not really mentioned they lay an absolute egg.
Oh my gosh!
And like I mentioned earlier, Gonzaga I thought was overseeded. Kansas is limping, obviously. So this probably is the weakest region. But like you said, that's almost scarier for Purdue Boilermakers, Robbie.
It's scary, but it's also exciting because there were a few teams that I wanted to avoid. I didn't want to see Auburn, and I didn't want to see Kentucky. Those were 2 teams that I did not want to see in Purdue's region. And then I wanted to see Kansas, and I was hoping we were going to get Marquette, but we got Kansas, and we ended up getting Tennessee, which is funny because Purdue has played Tennessee, and they played Gonzaga this year. So they could end up seeing both of those teams down the road at some point. I think Creighton, it lines up perfectly for Creighton, I think, to make a run here. I think the 6-11 matchup, South Carolina's been playing poorly down the stretch, and Oregon's got hot at the right time in a poor conference tournament. So I think Creighton's in a good spot. And Tennessee, if Tennessee doesn't show up, they by the way play a 15 seed we know pretty well in that first round game. I don't know if you noticed that.
Luke, gonna be my next joke is who's Tennessee playing, Robbie? Yeah, are we gonna get Purdue, St. Peter's Elite 8?
Well, see, it would have been even funnier if St. Peter's got the 14 and somehow Purdue saw St. Peter's in the Elite 8 game and finished off the double-digit seed losses, which would have been absolutely hilarious.
That would have been diabolical if they did that.
I mean, the selection committee, they've got some cruel humor to put St. Peter's in Purdue's region, but it would have been more cruel if they had St. Peter's at the 16 and Purdue would have played them first round. That would have been
and also noted in this region is Virginia and Colorado State's the play-in. Am I stupid? I don't remember the play-ins being 10 seeds. So because all the bid stealers that messed up the seeds a little bit.
Yeah, because all the bid stealers are at the 11 and 12 line this year, so they had to move up those playing games to the 10. It's the first time they've done it. So that goes to show you again just how many bid stealers there were this year because they had to move down those playing games to the 10 seed line, which is, I mean, that's crazy that we got that. And also, I mean, if I'm a 2 seed, if I'm Marquette or Tennessee, I'm even more deathly afraid now because I may have to end up running into a first 14 that's now played 2 games and it's kind of a little hot. That's a tough spot to be in.
And someone too like Florida, who's gets the Boise State Colorado winner. Which by the way, I wish it had done Colorado State rematch in the first 4. That'd been great.
That would have been awesome.
But Florida just played 4 games in 4 days, and now they don't get a team that's coming on hot like that. That's just tough for them.
And Florida just lost one of their big guys inside as well to a dangerous injury. So it's just, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of interesting storylines in between those first 4 games. And as Dusty mentioned, don't discount the first 4 games. They're going to be really good. That Howard Wagner game is going to be a lot of fun. I think that's going to be really enjoyable to watch that game. So the Dayton games are always a lot of fun and really, really enjoy watching those. Okay.
It's a great just appetizer. It is what it is. I like it.
It really is. Okay. Rapid fire right off the bat. What is the one upset pick that you're like, I'm taking that one because it just jumps off the page at you?
See, like, these are always tough, right? Because I remember last, like, Oral Roberts, too. That was the one everyone picked, right? And, of course, Oral Roberts gets obliterated in that game.
Crushed him.
And it's not like I want to go against the grade because, like, what, the obvious ones are going to be, like, McNeese, James Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at something a little off the board a little bit.
I'll give you mine. I mean, and I feel very confident with this. I love Samford over Kansas. Like Bucky ball, man. The Bulldogs can play, man. They've got H-or is a monster inside. That KJ Adams H-or matchup is going to be fantastic. But with Samford's pace, their guards are good enough. And with Kansas kind of limping in here, last time Kansas lost a first-round game, I believe, was when they were a 4 and they lost to Bradley when Bradley was a 13. Yeah. So it kind of lines up there. In Samford, first time in the dance in nearly 25 years, it kind of feels like it's in the cards right now for the Bulldogs.
And also, we don't know as of now what the status of McCullough and Dickinson are.
Right.
For people who don't know, they did not play at all in the Big 12 tournament.
Which makes me think that they will play because they sat them out. Thinking. Yes.
They probably knew it might cost them a seat or something, but yeah, it's probably more about getting them healthy. Because, again, they are thin to begin with, so losing them, it's just there's nothing left for them to do. But kind of my point earlier, it makes almost no sense to me, but kind of like Yale over Auburn, right? Everyone's going to be Auburn's going to be the trendy pick for people. Yale's been in the tournament. We highlight them. I think Duffy did. They've been in the tournament a bunch recently. Yeah. I think they upset someone in the first round a couple years. I think it was Baylor.
They beat Baylor in the first round, yeah. Yeah,
but looking at the first round, there's just so many juicy, even Alabama.
There's so many good games.
Against Charles, Grand Canyon, the Lopes against St. Mary's. We'll talk more about it on Wednesday, but there's just a lot of good hungry dogs out there.
There's a guy you're going to need to get to know real quick if you want that Yale upset. That's John Polakaitis, who literally just went bonkers at the end of that Ivy League championship game. He hit back-to-back threes that were 3 steps behind the perimeter. That dude was just dropping them from everywhere. He's really fun to watch. And Yale has good guards, and they've got kind of a swing guy. His name's Danny Wolf, a 7-footer that averages 14 and 10. And he can shoot 30% from 3. So, that could be a pretty interesting matchup with Auburn. You never know.
Right. Everyone's like, they won that tournament. It's like when Iowa and Keegan Murray won it 2 years ago. Yeah. And they lost in the first round immediately. Kind of gives me that kind of vibe, too. And Bruce Pearl at Auburn's has his own issues in the tournament.
I mean, they very nearly lost to New Mexico State in that first round game a couple years ago. And then they went to the Final Four. It's just they are on crazy ends of the spectrum. So I like that Auburn-Yale pick, yeah. And
they had a dud against Miami the next game.
Oh, gosh.
I got that right? Yeah, 2 years ago, whenever that was, the Jabari Smith. So
yeah.
Now Auburn's fighting by 30. But by the way, I was in the car today. I didn't get to watch the Ivy League game. Sounded like it was an amazing game.
Awesome finish. Hate it for Brown. It was a really good game. Brown missed a bunch of free throws at the end and couldn't finish that off. I mean, but Brown was the better team. Yale just hit some timely shots at the end. So that'll talk about there. So there's our rapid fire upset picks. Do you want to give a quick Final Four here? Do you want to kind of save that for the pod?
I'm gonna save mine for tomorrow.
Okay, and I think I will too. Yeah, a little teaser for you. We'll have our Final Four up tomorrow. Real quick. Also, we want to give some just a real quick run through on how the conference tournament championship week ended. You were in Nashville. You got to see kind of everything that went down at Bridgestone Arena. Well, it seemed like a fantastic environment and atmosphere all week long there. The games just seemed awesome.
Yeah, so people don't know, like, again, especially Kentucky side of it, it's just a sea of blue down there. It's always a cool atmosphere in there. For a lot of people, I'm sure it's their spring break or it's like the family vacation. So it's just a great time. And dude, it's amazing how much SEC basketball's gotten better. Like, the fans care so much now. Like, I'd say, if you don't watch the SEC title game, like it was a pro Auburn crowd. It's amazing. Like, when I first ran SEC tournament, there was no one from Auburn ever there.
No one from Auburn cared about it, yeah.
Literally, I would say, like, of the 12 SEC teams, they may have been, like them in South Carolina, like, the teams I just always thought could at least. So, Kentucky, boy, did they lay an egg. They've only won 2 conference tournament games since, I believe, COVID. So, it's just been a thorn in their side. But, and honestly, Kentucky, I was surprised they got the 3 seed. I think I mentioned they got it over Auburn and Alabama.
Yeah, I thought Alabama was seated a little high. I thought they'd fall to a 5. So I thought getting a 4.
Auburn, I was surprised.
Yeah, getting a 4 was a little surprising for me from Alabama. But yeah,
they got a way better team than I thought they would.
And I'm glad they did because they deserved it. Like with the way they finished down the stretch of this season and with how Wade Taylor and that team was playing, like that was one of the few seeds where I'm like, yes. You finally rewarded a team that deserved it. Like, they deserve to be up on a higher seed line. But also, I think the committee kind of showed they really don't value those conference tournament games as much as people thought. I mean, when we came into this podcast, Jerry Palm had Iowa State in as his last number 1 seed. I was like, are we really putting Iowa State in as a 1 seed? And fortunately, I think the committee didn't get blinded by the fact, they blew out Houston. But, it still counts as a loss for Houston. They're still a 1 seed.
Right. Which, by the way, real quick, Wade Taylor versus Jamal Shead potentially in round 32 is going to be great basketball. And also, too, Robbie, we got our dream matchup potentially with Arizona UNC in the Elite 8.
Oh, my gosh.
If we could get that, that's great TV.
Can you believe if Caleb Love has to go up against North Carolina? Because it's the same Carolina team he was there with. That's going to be insane if we get there. You just saying that, I just now realized it. Oh, my gosh.
And then also to note, too, in that same region, Michigan State got a 9 seed. A lot of people thought maybe they'd be on the bubble. So, I thought they were definitely in, but just that was kind of surprising to see to some people.
That of the first round matchups, I'm really excited about. Obviously, Mississippi State. I was in Starkville for 9 years. I covered Mississippi State for many years. I am excited for that Mississippi State-Michigan State matchup. That's going to be a great matchup. Michigan State struggles guarding bigs inside. Like, they've got 3 dudes between Cooper Kohler and Madi Sissoko that are okay bigs. They're not great inside guarding bigs. Now you got to deal with Tolu Smith. Good luck with that. Like, I think Tolu's going to get a double-double in that game because he's just going to be able to feast and eat on those guys inside. Because Michigan State, Tom Izzo, set in his ways, he will not double the post. He won't do it. And that means Tolu Smith could be in for a big game in that one.
And that's why this is like a prime example. Like, it's all about matchups, right?
Oh, completely, yeah.
That's just like, again, Michigan State, you get a bad matchup, Mississippi State, that's all it takes.
Absolutely. So it's a fun bracket. There's a lot of really good matchups. We will dive into it much more fully coming up on Monday night on our bracket show. But, Nick, real quick, before we get us on out of here, we have to mention that our locks of the week were not strong again. It just seems to happen, and I don't understand why. But Nick, you went Villanova DePaul. You had to hit 24.5. It did not have. By the way, that's another team that got left out. We didn't mention Villanova didn't.
Yeah, Villanova. Again, the whole Big East, they got shunned.
I just.
By the way, you saying DePaul made me think of this. Like, are we going to touch on the coaching carousel at all this?
Yeah. So we'll mention coaching carousel at the end. So I want to mention our locks one more time. So you had Villanova DePaul. Dusty missed Northern Colorado over Idaho State. That could have gone either way. But your boy locked it in with UNLV San Diego State. So I am now 6-1 on my locks. Outside, I just we don't need to mention your record. It's not important. But
it speaks for itself.
It does. So we will give our locks of the tournament coming up tomorrow on our bracket show. It will be our last lock of the year. We probably should.
God.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Nick is 1-5 or 1-6 on locks. I think you're 1-5.
I think you have one more than the rest of us, right?
Yes.
I think I'm 1-5.
Yeah, I'm 6-1, so you're 1-5.
And it took a Reed Shepherd against the world game for that one win too.
It sure did. Oh, incredible. And then also coming up tomorrow, we wanted to mention that we are going to get a Speak Pipe question in. And courtesy of a GFOP, he's going to have a little trivia question for us coming up on our Monday show. So we look forward to that. By the way, we have a great Speak Pipe, so that means you get to call in, leave a voicemail, and you get to be on the show. It is SpeakPipe, SpeakPipe.com/D1 and Done Pod. You can get in on the show in that way. All right, real quick, Nick. Coaching carousel's getting weird right now. DePaul has Chris Holtmann coming in. Ohio State officially named Jake Diebler as their new head coach. What is Louisville going to do? Like, there is all sorts of chaos going on right now with the coaching carousel.
I was shocked Michigan hired Juwan Howard. I had not think they would.
In Michigan firing Juwan Howard, like, what?
Did not see that coming at all. Off to West Virginia has been open. Oklahoma State's open now.
Right, yeah.
Vanderbilt gave Jerry Stackhouse a $15 million buyout, and he's gone after signing extension last year. So there's plenty of jobs open right now.
You are not going to believe, and I think I saw it like within the last 20 minutes or so. You're not going to believe who okay, this isn't real.
Oh, I did see this.
Is this real? So Vanderbilt supposedly may be announcing Chris Mack as their new head coach?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like, it was like, what are the words you used? Expected to be announced soon.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like Chris Mack to Vanderbilt, which
that's a great hire.
I think it's a heck of a hire. I kind of surprised he's just been sitting there for a couple years without a job. So that's again, the SEC, it's about good. It's just more good coaches are going to SEC right now.
And I think that's the reason why I think Ohio State went with Jake Diebler, was because there's so many massive job openings that let's go with the guy we know and we are aware of. If it doesn't work in 2 years, then maybe we kind of turn the page and go somewhere else. I think that's kind of was Ross Bjork's thinking at Ohio State. And it makes sense because I think Jake Diebler is a good coach. The job may be too big for him long term, but I mean, he proved that he could take that team, and they were very nearly there to make the tournament. I think they were probably on that next 4 out list with St. John's, Providence, Villanova in that spot there.
Yeah, they just dig themselves way too much of a hole. But they, like you said, they almost got out of it still somehow.
So close.
And Stanford's open too. I know that they're going to ACC.
Stanford too. Jared Hayes not there. Yeah, so and I would assume that Washington's open because Mike Hopkins is leaving. So we'll see what Danny Sprinkle ends up doing at Utah State. I mean, it's going to be they call it the coaching carousel for a reason, but I don't think this is going to be your typical merry-go-round. This one's going to be one that's going to go way too fast, and you're not prepared for it, and you're going to get dizzy real quick.
I look forward to it.
You and me both, my friend. All right, so coming up tomorrow, that's Monday night, March 18th, we will have our big bracket show that is talking about all of the games, making all of our picks. We'll run through the entire 68-team field. We are so excited for what's coming here on the show. Coming up Tuesday will be our first ladies of the pod, and then Wednesday will be Know Your Underdogs. We have so much great stuff coming, Nick. We'll have Dusty back in town. I hope you're as fired up as me.
Yep, I'm excited. Hope you feel better tomorrow. I need to go drink some water. It's here, Bobby. Let's have a great March is here.
March is officially here. We hope you all enjoyed the bracket show. We hope you have enjoyed episode 7 of the D1 and Done pod. Make sure you tune in coming up every night this week. We will have a new pod out for you every single night as we have March Madness officially here. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you find us on our social media pages and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Until Monday night, on behalf of Nick Mills and Dusty Mills, I'm Robbie Donahoe. We'll see you next time. And hey, Nick, the Madness is here.
The Madness is here. And Cal, play a zone.
See y'all tomorrow.